Senator Chester.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Johnson. I appreciate all of you being here today. I want to talk about debit interchange, of course. Mr. Chairman Bernanke, we were here in February. We talked about the serious risks that the Durbin Amendment would have on small community banks and credit unions because of their lack of ability to enforce the $10 billion and under exemption. You've gotten more information since then. Do you still feel, with the information you've got on hand, that an exemption can work?
Well, to be honest with you, we were agnostic. We're still not sure whether it will work. A number of the networks have expressed their interest or willingness to maintain a tiered interchange fee system, but of course that is not required. There's no law which says they have to do that. A suggestion that we got was that we should ask or even require the networks to make public what the interchange fees were that they were charging, and that would be of at least some value in terms of transparency. But again, there are market forces that would work against the exemption.
You've been in the business for a long time, and you're a very intelligent guy. And I know we're in a political process here, and I know you've probably been getting a lot of pressure from people, or at least one person from the Senate. I'm talking about rural America here. I'm talking about community banks and credit unions that if they go away, it's another nail in our coffin. It's really important. I think it's really important. Is it going to work?
I can't say with certainty, but I think there's good reason to be concerned about it.
Very good reason to be concerned about it. And if it doesn't work, what's the impacts on rural America?
Well, it's going to affect the revenues of the small issuers, and it could result in some smaller banks being less profitable or even failing. Okay.
Thank you. Wouldn't it seem the prudent thing to do is to step back and get more information? Wouldn't you agree the amendment was put in rather quickly?
It was put in quickly, but I think I have to defer to Congress on what kind of information you want to get. We have, of course, done one review, and we've gotten 11,000 comments. Which
can you make good decisions with bad information? Can you?
No, you can't, of course.
Can you make good decisions with little or no information?
No, that we don't is not a problem. We have plenty of information. We've received 11,000 comments, and we've done an enormous amount of surveying of the industry and so on.
And you've been able to wade through those comments?
That's why we wrote to this committee that we were going to be late with our rule, but we are making considerable progress, yes.
Okay. Chairwoman Bear, and before I get done, I want to thank you for your service. I very, very much appreciate it. All the work that you've done, as Senator Brown said, you've been very good at what you've done. Same issue. From your vantage point, do you think it's possible to exempt community banks from the debit interchange?
We would. I think it is questionable. I think we had suggested that the Fed perhaps could try to use authority under Reg E to require that the networks accept two-tier pricing, and our lawyers probably have different perspectives on that. And I think that's obviously the Fed's call. That's the Fed's rule. So if their view is that there is no legal authority to require that, I think it does become even more problematic. And so I do think this is going to reduce revenues at a number of smaller banks, and they will have to pass that on to customers in terms of higher fees, primarily for transaction accounts. So I think that's going to happen. And again, is that the right result? Is that the result Congress wanted? You need to determine that, but I think that is what will happen.
Any impact on their safety and soundness?
Our initial analysis, it doesn't look like it would clearly stress some institutions, putting them to the point of failure. No, we don't think that will happen, but clearly it would stress them. And if there are still other challenges that are confronting the community banking sector, it's probably something they don't need to be dealing with right now.
Okay, and so you talked about you didn't know if this was what the impact that Congress would have. I trust that this would potentially mean, or probably mean, or most certainly mean higher fees in other areas for consumers?
Yes, this fee income will have to, yes, it would have to be passed on in other fees.
Okay. Mr. Walsh, do you have anything you'd like to add to this issue?
Oh, only that we provided a comment letter that did not address particularly this distinction. It dealt more with the flexibility the Fed has to sort of set the overall level that they set. But we have been doing a fair amount of outreach to community bankers, and certainly it has been a key concern for them.
What do you, the impact on community banks, do you see it very similar to the way, how do you see it? I don't know, I'll put words in your mouth.
Well, I would just say that to the extent that it works out as is suggested, where it cuts into revenue for community banks, it's one more stress on them.
Right. Do you think an exemption can be implemented?
I haven't really studied the issue of whether that can work.
Okay.
I defer to the Fed.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all very much.